Welcome to another episode of Titan PI TV, where we're looking at the inside workings of a live operational investigation agency, that being here, Titan in Derby. I am Simon Henson, your host and Managing Director of Titan Private Investigation Limited. Thank you once again for listening to another episode of Titan PI TV. Today's episode, we are going to be looking at what could go wrong. So it's really important for an investigation agency to advise a prospective client as to the pitfalls of what could happen in an investigation. And this is usually down to when a prospective client is trying to shorten the purse strings to cut corners. So we're going to look at 4 areas of where we notice the need to be warnings about whether we cut corners. So the first one is surveillance. Surveillance requires a minimum of 2 surveillance operatives. The reason for that is because if a subject is being followed by one person, whether they are surveillance aware or not, whether they are being followed on foot or in a vehicle, if the same vehicle or same foot unit is behind them throughout, turn for turn, their day, then they are pretty soon going to be able to notice and identify that vehicle or that person. So it needs 2 surveillance operatives. If there is only one, so for example, we might be looking at an address. That surveillance operative is in their camera platforms. That might be a vehicle. It could be an observations point in a building. Our subject comes out. That operative has then got to extract from the vehicle on foot or jump into the front of the vehicle to be able to drive away. If it's an observations point being a building, they've got to exit. So they will be getting, if not attention from our subject, they will be getting third party exposure. They then follow our subject on foot. It's the same person behind them. They are soon going to get pinged. That's going to lead to an increased awareness by our subject, and it's going to lead to either a loss of sighting or a compromise. Then the job is over. We can't keep following someone when they're aware that we are there. So as a client, if you push the boundaries and an agency agrees to only deploy one surveillance operative, you are likely to get nothing from it, and that are the worries around that. Titan will not do one-person surveillances because it's not professional and you're not able to use surveillance tactics correctly. So the only time Titan will do one-operative surveillances is when it's a static surveillance. This is when you are watching an address, but you're not following anyone away from the address. So it might be we just need to know when a person comes out or if a person enters an address. We can gain all that with one person. But as soon as we go into the realms of following someone away from that address, the minimum is 2 surveillance operatives. Absolute minimum. So that's the first thing that can go wrong if you cut corners or if an investigation agency decides just to deploy one surveillance operative on a physical surveillance. Second one is bug sweeps. Bug sweeping is a niche specialist area within the private investigation agency. It can only be conducted by operatives that have got the right equipment, have got the right training and the right experience. If you go with a company or an investigation agency which doesn't have those 3 elements, they will probably be using cheap equipment, maybe from Japan or China, probably not know how to use it properly, and therefore you're having a bug sweep in your address, your house or your business, but it's fairly useless. It'll be a lot of theatrics and potentially, if there is a device there, it won't be found. So first of all, you need to ask what the experience is of the operative which is attending to conduct the bug sweep. You need to know if they've been trained and you need to know what equipment they've got. So the equipment that a Titan operative would use would be a spectral analysis detection, near field detection receiver, non-linear junction detector, GSM locator, Wi-Fi scanner, thermal imagery, lens finder, and a thermal pole camera. That is sort of the minimum kit that you can expect or certainly wish for from a decent, well-trained operative. So that's what could go wrong with a bug sweep. The third area is person traces. Person traces are generally no trace, no fee. So although you pay the fee of the service upon instruction, if the investigation agency isn't successful in tracing that individual, then you will get a full refund. Traces generally take 24 hours unless it's a particularly protracted inquiry, and then you will be given dates when development updates will be given. You need to see the terms of business so that you know that, or you've got it in writing, that it is no trace, no fee. If you haven't seen their terms of business, then you need not just to be told that over the telephone, you need it on an email. Otherwise, you could pay the trace fee on instruction, they're unsuccessful, and you don't get a refund. So you need it in writing. Phone hacking. So time and time again, usually in matrimonial cases or investigations, we are asked if we can hack or get access to a partner's phone to recover deleted WhatsApps, deleted texts, or to be able to check their social media messenger. This isn't possible lawfully. The only way it can be done lawfully is to have permission from the person whose phone it is. We can then send that away, do a full forensic analysis on it. We won't be able to retrieve deleted WhatsApps, but we will be able to text, photos, we'll be able to do messenger notifications as well. If they've been deleted though, we won't be able to get those back. It's really important that you understand that a number of offences are committed if you're trying to do it without the owner's permission. So first of all, you're going to be looking at Section 1 of the Computer Misuse Act 1990. You're going to be looking at offences under Sections 170 and 173 of the Data Protection Act 2018. You're going to be looking at Section 32 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015. And also Section 127 of the Communications Act 2003. Now, for these offences to be committed, the information doesn't actually need to be retrieved. It's the fact that you have attempted it. And you as a prospective client or an instructing client commit it. But if the investigation agency also knows there's no permission from the owner of the phone, then they also commit it. And if you do commit that, you're potentially looking at a jail sentence. So my advice to you would be, if an investigation agency says yes, they can get access to a telephone, and yes, they can get social media messages, deleted texts, etc. off that phone, knowing that they don't have permission from the owner of that phone, that is a massive red flag, and avoid, avoid, avoid. So those are the 4 areas I wanted to cover. Thank you for listening to another episode of Titan PI TV. Please give us a thumbs up, or if you don't want to miss further episodes, subscribe to the channel. Once again, thanks for listening. Till next time.